Hi, I'm Dr. Jack Seidel. Today we're going to talk about nasal irrigation and using a neti pot. And you can see I have here two different neti pots. This is my wife's, this is my neti pot. One of my daughters has this one, the box is empty. There's a lot of different styles. Some of these come with these little packets of basically of salt, or you can just use kosher salt, which is what I'm going to be doing today. You're going to also need to have some type of measuring cup or measuring device where you can either measure in milliliters or in cups, and then you're going to need a measuring spoon. And I have here a ½ teaspoon measuring spoon, but you can also use a 1½ And the proportion that we're going to use today is we're going to use 1½ teaspoons of kosher salt in 300 milliliters of warm water. So what we'll do is and you can get any type of kosher salt. This is about $1 or so at the store for this box. So we'll just take this and measure out over the sink, put in, this is a ½ teaspoon, so that's 1, 2, 3 ½ teaspoons, which would be the equivalent of 1½ teaspoons, and then we're going to add 300 milliliters of water, which is about 1¼ cups. And the reason for that is because my neti pot holds about half that much, so that will give me enough, about 150 milliliters to fill this up, to do it 2 times, 1 for each nostril. Now, before we add the warm water, you can see that these different styles, these two are porcelain. This one, it's empty because my daughter has, one of my daughters has this one, is plastic. And they all work well. Be careful though, because sometimes in some of the ones that are plastic, there is a steam right here where it goes into the nostril. And sometimes when your nose is irritated, that steam can actually kind of rub and can actually cause further irritation. So check where the part that goes into the nose and just make sure that it feels fairly smooth before you actually purchase one. The water temperature you want to use is basically just lukewarm. So it would be the same as if you were to put that in your mouth. If it still feels a little cool in your mouth, then it's probably still too cool, but if it feels pretty warm, then it's going to be uncomfortable. So you want it just to be kind of lukewarm water. So once the water gets to the right temperature, you're going to add it here to bring that up to 300 milliliters or 1¼ cups, and then you're going to let the salt dissolve. Let this water warm up here for a moment. Okay, so the water's pretty warm now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of this very warm, actually, water here. You can see just about that much. And I'm going to kind of swirl this around to dissolve the salt. You can also take your spoon, or you can get another spoon to kind of dissolve that. And it's pretty turbid right now, kind of cloudy looking, and if you look at the bottom of it, you can actually still see the salt sitting there. So if we just kind of swirl this around for a minute or so, it'll get all that salt to dissolve in that warm water. And this water is going to, as we do this, it's going to kind of cool down. That's why I started with it a little bit warmer than just being lukewarm, because it's going to cool off, and then we're going to add more of the cooler lukewarm water to that, and that will be a good temperature. And so right now all the salt is dissolved. I can look right through here, and it looks crystal clear, and you can see that it's not near as turbid as it was. So now I'm going to adjust the water temperature a little bit. and that's just about right here. Feels just lukewarm. So I'm going to fill this up now until it gets up to the 300 milliliter mark, and that will just kind of automatically adjust, kind of mix that all in there together so it has the same amount of salt distributed throughout all the water. Then another little trick I'm going to do with the neti pot is I'm going to, since this is kind of feels much cooler room temperature, maybe in the high 60s degrees, I'm going to run just some warm water into here first and let this kind of go through here. And you can see how it's kind of coming out, and this is basically what's going to happen as you pour it into your nostril. So I'll dump the rest of this water out. And then what I usually like to do is I like to start off with whichever nostril seems to be more open. If you can kind of blow through each nostril equally, you can start with either one. But for like right now, my left nostril seems to be fine. My right nostril just has a little bit of obstruction there, so I'm going to start by using my left nostril. So I'm just going to pour about half of this right in here into the neti pot. And then put it into my left nostril, and as I do that, I'm going to tilt my head to the right, and then just let gravity pour that so it goes into my left nostril and comes out of my right, just like this. I have my head tilted. You can see it's just pretty much running through. It kind of affects your voice a little bit if you're going to be talking, but you can easily breathe while you do it. So that's about all that's in the pot. Went through there just fine. Blow some more of this out. And then we're going to do the other side. Now normally I would do this in my bathroom. I'm going to have to clean the sink or my wife's going to be mad. And then the other thing is I oftentimes will do it in the shower. I'll go ahead and prepare, just put the salt into the measuring cup to start with and put that inside of the shower. I actually have a plastic one. I don't like to use glass in the bathroom or the shower, so I have a plastic one. I add the salt before I get in, take that in there with me, and then just use the warm shower water to add to the salt that's already in there, bring it up to the 300 milliliters, and have my neti pot in there. So now we're going to do the other side. Keep your head tilted, and this will help that salt water get and wash all that mucus out. It'll also, if your ears clogged up, can help with that also. As you can see, it is not very traumatic at all, and I've had my patients that were as young as 4 years of age be able to do this successfully. It makes you feel so much better. You're probably going to need to get a tissue to kind of dry your nose. It may drip a little bit. Sometimes if you put your head forward, you'll get a little bit more of the water that will drip out. But this really helps to clean your nasal passages out, helps your sinuses to drain, helps your ears when they're stuffed up, and I hope that it will help you if you are having a cold or sinusitis. I'm Dr. Jack Seidel. Thank you very much for watching.